BlackRock Prime Minister Friedrich Merz demands that Ukrainian men stop fleeing Ukraine and fight and die for NATO.
Ich habe heute in einem längeren Telefonat den ukrainischen Präsidenten gebeten, dafür zu sorgen, dass insbesondere die jungen Männer aus der Ukraine nicht in größer werdender Zahl wieder nach Deutschland kommen, sondern dass sie den Dienst in ihrem Land versehen. Da werden sie gebraucht und in Deutschland werden die Transferleistungen für diese Flüchtlinge so ausfallen, dass die Arbeitsanreize größer sind als der Anreiz im Transfersystem zu bleiben.
NATO leaders are completely psychotic. They truly plan to fight Russia to the last Ukrainian. And in order to facilitate this, Germany is beginning to slash Ukrainian refugee benefits in order to force them back on the battlefield. Does it sound like these NATO leaders give a damn about the Ukrainian people? And Ukrainians realize this. They realize they are being used as cannon fodder for NATO and Europe, which is why nearly 100,000 Ukrainian men have fled the country in just under 2 months. Russia has dominated Ukraine on the battlefield, slowly bleeding them out, and NATO has zero chance of winning this war, but it doesn't matter to them. They will continue to send more Ukrainian men to their deaths because their goal is not to defeat Russia, it's simply to weaken Russia. The goal of the ruling class is not to have successful war, it's to have never-ending profitable war. And the Ukraine proxy war has been amazing for the profits of the military-industrial complex and for them to test battlefield innovation. So an entire generation of Ukrainian men are wiped out to feed the profits of the military-industrial complex. Shame on the NATO left and the so-called peace activists who supported this nonsense.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family. You guys know I'm always. What's poppin'? We got a lot to cover today. This is what I've been focusing on: the genocidal West. Like, all these problems always go back to them. It always traces back to this culture that doesn't value human life. And when I see like the callousness that these neocons in the West have about the Ukrainian people, now they cut social spending off for them. They wanted to use them as cannon fodder, as I was playing the video, to use and test new battlefield innovations and weapons. That's why they needed conflict to continue, despite there's no chance NATO winning. And this same genocidal West, we see fueling conflicts all around the world. We see them funding genocides all over the world, and they will not be stopped, fam. They will not stop until they are forced to stop, I should say. But we got a lot to cover. I'm gonna bring my friend in. You gotta know our good friend from DDG, and we have Sarah, who does great citizen journalism, reporting on geopolitics. Great writer, man. You've been writing some great banger articles as well. You gotta know Sarah's always in the lab cooking as well. What's poppin', my friend Sarah? How you doing, my friend?
I actually stolen that phrase from you. Now I say I'm always in the lab cooking.
I love it. I think it's endearment. It's a term of endearment we use. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
How are you?
I'm good. I saw your stream earlier. You guys are doing great work at DDG. And we may touch on a little bit foreign policy as well when it comes to the UN vote. We're going to get to that here very soon. I just want to shortly touch on this because I feel like a lot of people don't understand how much the EU is complicit with everything we're seeing going on in Sudan. Like the weapons that the RSV, the Rapid Support Forces, they're now using drone strikes that has an extremely high civilian casualty. You see the RSF using the same tactics that the genocidal Israeli government normalized. Like I said, I don't want to be on this too long, but I have to do at least a little bit of coverage of Sudan, which I always want to spotlight as much as possible. The EU-made weapons fuel war crimes in Sudan, envoy says. European countries must stop selling arms to the UAE, urges Sudanese ambassador as probe traces flow of military gear to the rebel group that like there have been atrocities on both sides, but the RSF, sponsored by the UAE. This is what I went to. I didn't want to go to this yet. This is another one. I saw UK rejected atrocity prevention plans for Sudan despite warning of possible genocide. So everywhere you look, you see the West with their hands on all this stuff. In fact, actually, I want to get your thoughts on this now because since we talk about the genocidal West, you have this UN resolution where essentially the UN approved of this Gaza enslavement plan. And there are a lot of discourse and dialogue going around about it right now. Sir, I want your thoughts. Anything you want to add about Sudan if you want to, but also this is the big breaking story regarding this ceasefire and well, not ceasefire, but what I call the Gaza enslavement plan that was voted on today. Like the U.S., Turkey, Pakistan, and several Arab states are swift adoption of UN Gaza resolution. Sarah, any thoughts before I continue?
Well, Sudan is a mess. I'm a little bit over my head in Sudan. I think that most countries are in over their heads in Sudan, and it's just been a land of atrocities enabled by people like the UAE. Now, you mentioned the EU, but even Russia is responsible for some of the violence there. So it's a sad situation. I'm not really sure how to approach it, but Trump said, and I'm not sure of the validity, that MBS asked Trump to get involved in the Sudanese war. So expect that.
Knowing Donald Trump, he would make one press conference, declare peace, and then move on and pretend that he solved the war. Countless people died. That's what he did. That's what he did in Gaza, essentially. And we have this genocidal West, and it's crazy to me that people are even floating the idea of even working with these psychopaths now. And let's get to Mamdani. We're going to get back to the UN vote here. Trust me. But I thought that seeing the genocide sponsored by the Democratic Party, fully endorsed by the genocidal Democratic Party, I thought we would be like done organizing with these people forever, normalizing these Zionist war criminals. Meanwhile, we have Zohran Mamdani, which, sorry to tell you I told you so, but I told you so. I told you guys a few months ago that Zohran Mamdani is this to save and to normalize liberal Zionism among progressive pro-Palestinian spaces. And now you have Zohran Mamdani that is performing the role that I said that he would. Be the guy who whitewashes and uses his clout and reputation to clean up the image of the genocidal Democratic Party. And now he's even protecting people like Hakeem Jeffries. Look, a real pain, potential Jeffries primary challenge put Mamdani in a tough spot. What do you mean that put you in a tough spot? And I want to get right to say, I don't know how much you've been covering this. I'm going to cover a little bit of domestic policy today. But this is supposed to be the progressive hero that is providing cover and protecting one of the most heinous AIPAC sellouts in Congress, as the United States is still carrying out a genocide that Hakeem Jeffries supports.
As you've seen, your election has created a lot of buzz. Now that the midterms are underway, that seems to be the focus, but your name is still being dragged into the midterms, right? Let me talk about Hakeem Jeffries for a moment, who now may face a challenge from Chi Osei, who is a member of the DSA. You said there are local issues that Mr. Osei should be focused on, maybe should remain a councilman. Are you saying he should not run as Hakeem Jeffries?
No, I'm saying that I think the focus should be right here on New York City. I respect the work that Councilmember Osei has done.
But what does that mean? Should he not run?
I think that right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. I think the focus should be delivered.
Is now not the time in terms of strategy? Or is now not the time in terms of your career?
Well, he promised to be the Pied Piper of the socialists if AOC and Bernie took pictures with him. So,
listen to this ridiculous excuse he uses.
He not run?
I think that right now is not the time to be engaging in that kind of a primary. I think the focus should be on delivering on this affordability agenda.
And
I thought that his slogan was "Our time is now." Our time is maybe tomorrow.
I guess it's not now, Sarah. We got to worry about his career.
Our time is later. Our time is later.
You guys see how these people exist to lead the left off a
We went
cliff?
from our time is now to now is not the time.
Imagine if that was his campaign slogan. Now is not the time.
Should have been.
Now, that should have been. Because how is what he's saying even make sense here? He says his number one focus is on the affordability issue. Hakeem Jeffries and the establishment was in charge of New York as they suffered through the affordability crisis. And if you want to force the ruling class to move on your agenda, which Hakeem Jeffries made it clear countless times that he doesn't support your agenda. When Hakeem Jeffries was asked about why he endorsed Zohran, he said, well, he was a Democrat candidate. I don't agree with his policies. He was very open about that. That was Kathy Hochul said as well. I don't agree with his policies. I'm only endorsing him because he's the Democratic candidate. And I would be in political shit if I didn't. So Hakeem Jeffries not even on your position. So strategy-wise, let's think about it, Sarah. Strategy-wise, wouldn't it actually suit you to float primary challenges to people who didn't support your agenda? If people like Hakeem Jeffries, Sarah, was worried about Zohran Mamdani endorsing against him, wouldn't that make it more likely that he will support his agenda? Wouldn't that send a loud message to every single New York neoliberal that if you either fall in line or Zohran Mamdani will endorse against you? He's sending the exact opposite message, that you can oppose my agenda all you want, but I still won't go for you. How is that good strategy, fam? Sarah,
Did Hakeem Jeffries have an Epstein connection?
Oh, you read my mind, my friend. You guys know Sarah's always in the lab cooking. Sarah's always in the lab cooking too.
I just remember him because he was another one that kind of surprised me. I was like, why? You know?
And if you listen to Hakeem Jeffries, he's the worst politician of all time.
Really is
This
bad.
man has no charisma. What happened to the charismatic politician, Sarah? Hakeem Jeffries, he repulses even like the CNN hosts that be interviewing him. They're like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking amateur. Because it's not about like, you don't have to have talent anymore to be like a politician that makes it in the United States. Because as long as you're making AIPAC money, if you're like AIPAC Shakur, if you have the Zionists who can influence elections and guarantee you to win, you got a 90% chance to win, at least with AIPAC support. Do you really need to be a talented politician? You got to see why, like, if you look at statesmen in other countries, even those we disagree with, like statesmen in China, Russia, they completely outclass the United States politicians because the bar is so low here. All you got to do is say, hey, man, I will do everything I can to defend Israel, and you can be the most mumble-mouthed motherfucker. You can be the most uncharismatic person, and you will propel to success, right? But this is what you mentioned, sir. Do you have any knowledge about this? Because this is why I found I was going to bring this up.
It had to do with a dinner. I think they met at some point. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
I mean, but if you're running for office in Brooklyn, if you're running for office in New York City, chances are at that time period, you're going to run into Epstein.
Yep.
So
this is Dem fundraising group reached out to Epstein in 2013 on behalf of House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Give us a call if you want to get involved with the dinner or get an opportunity to know Hakeem Jeffries better. So this is how people who are untalented, like Hakeem Jeffries, make it in politics. They hoard themselves out into the Israeli lobby. But don't get too excited, guys, because people are ripping AOC apart because AOC is defending Hakeem Jeffries and she spoke out against the primary challenge. And I know, if you guys know, the same people who went extremely hard on AOC for defending Hakeem Jeffries, they're not laying a glove on Zohran Mamdani for doing the same thing. I know that today. But don't get excited, because this is the person, I don't know if you've seen it, this is the person that is supposed to be primary Hakeem Jeffries. This is the new progressive darling, a person that Zohran Mamdani distanced himself from because he's inconvenient and a problem to his political career to butt heads with Hakeem Jeffries. So you're already seeing Zohran sell out his coalition, sell out his the people who support him the most. If they are too anti-Zionist, I'm gonna get to that here very soon, or if you challenge the Democratic Party leadership. But this is the guy who is supposed to be primary Hakeem Jeffries, and he's a NATO leftist. Look, As chair of the Committee on International Group Relations, I oversaw the vote on 2 resolutions in support of Ukraine. This is the person who they want to primary, Hakeem Jeffries.
What's the catch? Is he like, or what's the appeal? Is he okay on Israel or something?
Yeah.
Why should I care if he wants to primary Hakeem Jeffries if he votes just like him, or is he different on Israel, or is there a somewhere where they actually divert?
He's supposed to be challenging Hakeem Jeffries on his support, on his AIPAC support.
Okay.
His support for Israel, and I always think like track AIPAC, the account that used to be Elizabeth Warren propaganda account.
Mm-hmm.
They now promoting this guy like, look, this guy takes no AIPAC money, ignoring these people are NATO stooges.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like I don't think AIPAC money is getting to the point where that's a safe bet. Are you willing to say you want a multipolar world? Like, or are you willing to say you don't want to go to war with China? Are you willing to say we need to stop the imperialism of NATO? I mean, like, I'm glad that we're getting to the point where the Palestine-Israel issue is the bare minimum. That's good. Because if that's an easy platform to run on, then we've done our job. But we got to push them even further. But this is, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It helps push the Overton window, don't you think?
Yeah, they're now using opposing AIPAC as a way to get people to support politicians who are shit on everything else.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Zohran Mamdani, he believes that Venezuela is an authoritarian narco state, and he condemned Cuba, right? Sarah, but go ahead. You want to chime in?
There's a part of me that's like, well, these people want to function within the system, right? You know, these are the people that say, oh, we gotta get in there and we gotta get into office to, you know, change. We know they're not going to change anything, but it's still good to get these new ideas into office. If he's against AIPAC, any loss of a modicum of power for AIPAC, I say, is a positive thing. And if he represents another politician that can't be bought by AIPAC, that's great. But now you're highlighting that he thanks her, and she is a maniacal person. She looks crazy. She's a crazy Ukrainian Jew. Crazy.
Dude, crazy. That's crazy that he's thanking. Dude, if you're not on X, you're missing some insane ass Zionist.
Yeah, you need to look into this one. She's a nutcase.
And if you're on X,
down to like a protest with a gun. She wore the flag of Israel to like an event once. Like she's just crazy.
And if you're on X, you've seen her tweets because she one of them Zionist accounts they promote on the For You tab. Like, I have to mute a lot of these people. I see her all the time. I don't follow her, but they always promote now. Anyway, I haven't actually seen this video. I'm curious. I saw the tweet. I haven't watched the video. So let's give this guy a fair trial. I want to see what this guy said about Ukraine. This is the guy who's supposed to be running against Hakeem Jeffries, the new progressive darling. I explained many times. You guys see how they using Ukraine in my hotspot video, the intro. I explained how they are systemically wiping out an entire generation of Ukrainians. And now they're doing everything they can to force Ukrainian men on the front line in order to sell weapons for the military-industrial complex. That's the entire goal. They don't give a fuck about Ukrainians. They know there's no victory plan here. But the arms manufacturers are making record profits. We explained it 1,000 times. But on the left, in the United States, the people who I call the NATO left, ironically, because they think they're on the left and they support NATO. People like Sam Cedar, who still deny the fact that they're Nazis in Ukraine, for example. The entire wave of DSA, NATO leftists. Let's see what this guy is. I'm going to give him a fair trial because I did not see this video before. I just read the tweet. So let me give this guy a fair trial and see what he say on NATO.
So I do want to explain my vote before we move on. The invasion of Ukraine is a cruel and unjustified act of aggression.
Oh, Jesus.
It is characterized by countless crimes against humanity, perpetrated by Russia and its soldiers against the Ukrainian people.
Oh, Jesus.
And it has increased and caused a grave human rights crisis. No human being deserves to be displaced from their homes or be casualties of war.
What about the Ukrainians who live in Luhansk and the Donbass who was shelled by the fascist Ukrainian regime, who not only lost their life, but they was displaced? Like, they never bring that up. Anyway, let's
Refugees fleeing from these Russian atrocities must be offered asylum. At the same time, the United States and its allies must extend the same generosity and goodwill that they offer Ukrainians to refugees from across the world. Yes, we need to open our doors to Ukrainians fleeing the war in their homeland. So too must we welcome Haitian refugees who were instead met with ICE agents on horseback.
Oh look, this is the progressive
That
NATO
happened like 5
lifespan.
years ago. What the hell are you talking about? That was,
Well, to be
that
fair,
was under Biden, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, this is the older video, Sarah. Just to be fair, I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, okay.
Just to be fair, this is like 4-year video. But you guys see what they do? They take an defensible position, like defending the NATO proxy war, and then they try to make it sound progressive. Like, hey man, if we support Ukrainian refugees, we should support refugees from Haiti. These people make me sick. Anyway, I want to finish what he says. I actually haven't seen this. This is the. It makes me sick already. The Hakeem Jeffries replacement.
Instead met with ICE agents on horseback, brutalizing them at the border. And Syrian refugees who, like the Ukrainians, seek sanctuary from war. We also need to ensure that African students who are fleeing Ukraine are able to find refuge. The approach we are taking to Ukrainian refugees is noble, and I'm warmed to see the nations of the world extend this welcome to the victims of Russia's bloodthirsty war. We must take the same approach to Black and brown people fleeing identical circumstances. I condemn Vladimir Putin's ruthless aggression and call on our state and federal leaders to take stronger action to weaken his army and his hand. I stand steadfastly in solidarity with the proud Ukrainian people. I vote aye on all.
Whoa, boy. Like, honestly, like, he didn't turn to Lindsey Graham until the very end. That wasn't even full Lindsey Graham at the end there. Go ahead, Sarah.
This isn't really going to fly. This mess. Well, I don't know how old this is, but this messaging isn't going to fly anyway. We take in a lot of Ukrainian refugees, so we got to take in all the other refugees too. People want less refugees in America right now. Like, I don't. Maybe his messaging has changed, but
by the way,
Sarah, it feels very identity politics, and I don't like it. He even said we need to bring in the Black and brown refugees.
Yeah, instead of ending imperialism, so we don't have to worry about that. Like, come on,
we're
going to bomb the country. You're like, we're going to bomb the country. You might as well take the people in.
Yes, that's exactly it. We're like a third of the way there. Can we get you the other 2/3 to, like, how about just stop the NATO imperialism that causes these issues that makes the refugees? But no, just bringing in more brown refugees to even it out.
You want to know? Like, this guy is not quite Lindsey Graham, but this is still detestable to me. Because you got to this is from 2022. And if you look at his account, go ahead, guys, if you're interested. He only had 2 comments he ever make about Ukraine. It's this and some other follow-up reply tweet. And he hasn't said anything about Ukraine in 3 years. This is the only video. This is the only tweet that he actually has an official statement on Ukraine. So this is what the progressives do. They said we support the NATO proxy war, and they will come out in support of it and never mention it again. They won't mention the Zelensky corruption scandal. Like, that's not something you want to talk about. You want to talk about all the neo-Nazis that was caught there. You don't want to talk about Zelensky banning socialist parties. That's not something that caught your attention. Him banning opposition parties. I swear to God, this
DSA gives us.
Go ahead, sir.
This is what the DSA gives us. So
yeah. I didn't go back this far to be a got you asshole, guys. This is the only thing he said about Ukraine. Dead ass. On Twitter, at least. You had to go back to 2022 and the video where he came out in support of it. This is their champion. The person who's going to challenge Hakeem Jeffries just to sell a progressive NATO. But anyway, I think I went a little bit too long on this guy. Like, that last part was crazy. I want to hear the last part again, though, because that last part, he went full Lindsey Graham, I think, at the end there.
And federal leaders to take stronger action to weaken his army and his...
Look, we need to take stronger action to weaken the Russian army. Like, man, I really hope you change your position since then. Like, look, you got to see the last part. He goes full Lindsey Graham.
And federal leaders to take stronger action to weaken his army and his hand. I stand steadfastly in solidarity with the proud Ukrainian people. I vote aye on all.
So that's the guy who Zohran Mamdani is uncomfortable with challenging Hakeem Jeffries. And now you have people in Zohran's orbit. Like, it shows how Zohran, as I said before, people thought I was being harsh, he is here to drag his movement back to the right and get their ass back in line. The job of Zohran Mamdani is to whip the anti-Zionist movement back in line to make them suitable to the Democratic Party. So you have people who was around Zohran. Look, he claims Zohran Mamdani is quietly pushing back against the harder line anti-Zionist in his movement. In a meeting with his Jewish endorsers, he says that Rep. Jerry Nadler, a diehard Zionist, questioned the progressive left fixation on anti-Zionism. So Jerry Nadler was like, hey, man, why are you guys so critical of the state of Israel? So then someone from Zohran's team, a staffer, was like, start just explain why the left is opposed to the genocidal state of Israel. And what Zohran did was interrupt them, cut them off, and said, stop. This is not what we're here to do. So that's essentially the story this guy's explaining, how Zohran is using his power to keep these people.
The story I was going to say that wasn't in the piece was I had heard about a meeting he had with all of his Jewish endorsers. So these are a lot of elected officials, some other ones. And I had heard that in that meeting, Jerry Nadler, congressman who's retiring, who I think among this group particularly is considered senior kind of class president, was saying that he understands criticisms of Netanyahu, agrees with most of them, but that he doesn't get why these leftists have to make anti-Zionism fully their cause. And why can't it just be about criticizing the government, the prime minister, and how it exists? And I heard that in this meeting, another elected starts explaining to Nadler basically why progressives and leftists believe or make a priority of anti-Zionism. And that Mamdani looks at said person and tells them to stop and says, this is not what we're here to do. We're not here to try to talk Jerry Nadler into some position he doesn't have. We're fine with the position he has. I would say, and the person remarked it to me as different than the Zohran of 4 or 5 years ago, to your point. So I say the story to say, you can see that, you can hear that and think that sounds like a mayor, or you can hear that and think that sounds like someone hiding their beliefs. You can hear that. I mean, you can say whatever.
I hear that and I see that someone making backroom deals with the genocidal Zionist capitalist class, which is not how you effect change. Mm-hmm. You engage in class war and you defeat the Zionists, especially with the political capital that you have. You want to throw your own people under the bus and undercut your message? If you're not here to persuade genocidal Zionists, what exactly are you doing?
Why do you think they let him run? Because they knew they were going to be able to railroad him.
Sarah, you try to tell him, man. We try to tell him. And now,
they let him run on the Democratic ticket. They let him run on the Democratic ticket. He didn't need to. He probably would have run on his own.
What did I tell you guys a month ago? Like, as Zohran was catching heat, I said, man, Zohran is not going to be able to accomplish any of that shit he's promising you as mayor. He doesn't have the power. He has a neoliberal governor. Do you guys know how our government works?
Yeah,
every single domestic agenda item he has, he would need to get the neoliberals on board, and he's not doing that. So, but I was like, all right, guys, there are positives to having a progressive mayor. And I said one of the first segments I did on Zohran Mamdani, I hope you guys remember this. I explained how Zohran, how he treats the NYPD will be a number one sign on whether he truly intends to fight against the capitalist class or not. Because one of the benefits of having a progressive mayor is, even though you may not have a revolution, it's not going to lead to communism by having a progressive mayor. But there are benefits in having a mayor that can rein in these violent police states, the gangster LAPD, the gangster NYPD. But you don't know, instead of reining in the NYPD, which would be a positive, I said before, that would be one of the few positives that Zohran Mamdani could actually do. Instead of reining the NYPD in, Sarah, he immediately apologizes to them. I'm apologizing for calling the NYPD racist, and now he's keeping Jessica Tish as police commissioner. Have you seen this, Sarah?
Yeah,
she's like a crazy Zionist.
Doing a good job at kind of restructuring the place or something. He said.
He was like, "Man, she doing great. She doing great work. I don't want to disrupt the work."
It was something along those lines. Yeah.
I have the quote here. I have the quote put up where he's confronted by it. Even Mehdi Hassan was like, "Bro, what do you understand who this person is?" So we're gonna get to his official response because he said you don't want to disrupt the work that Jessica Tish is doing. But by the way, are you saying that there's no one else that is qualified to do this job that you want to hire? Are you saying that all the bad, this is the point that Bree brought up, are you saying that all the bad that she has done, like beating pro-Palestinian protesters, implementing fascism with the NYPD, are you saying that overwrites, that her good work overwrites all the negative? Because that's a deeply problematic position to take, because this is who she is. She's a APAC police commissioner, a pro-ADL police commissioner. So I'll play a little bit of this because it's, I didn't mean close that. Damn. Let me pull it back up here. I actually put the wrong button. But I'm gonna show you guys who she actually is. Let me find it. Let me pull it back up again. She started with ICE. I know she made a deal with ICE in order to go after pro-Palestinian protesters. Just to give you an idea of who she is. All right, here it is. Sorry, I accidentally closed the window on accident. But here it is. Let me pull it back up. Here it is. And big shout out to Zay Squirrel for finding this. This is pretty much a breakdown of her Zionist team. So let's just watch a little bit. This is the police commissioner that Zohran Mamdani trusts.
And of course, I want to thank the Anti-Defamation League, especially your director and CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, as well as your entire board, your staff, and the thousands of dedicated volunteers for your work to inspire action in the fight against hate, intolerance, and injustice. On the morning of October 7th, I was traveling with my son when I got a call from my grandmother, a Rebbitzin of blessed memory. She didn't say good morning. She didn't even say hello. She simply said, "We are at war."
I don't know if I can stomach more of this. This is the person who Zohran Mamdani deeply trusts, who's going to run the NYPD. So the most important thing that you guys have for a progressive mayor in terms of how they handle the NYPD, you guys completely threw away.
I didn't know that she was Jewish. I just thought she was a Zionist.
Diehard Zionist. And they came from a billionaire Jewish family, Jewish supremacist family.
Oh.
Like the deepest swamp monster you can find.
Got it.
Look, here's just another example of her reputation. Signs of things to come. A few months after Tish became commissioner, ICE sent a request for assistance to the NYPD for info on pro-Palestinian protesters. Oh, this pro-Palestinian protester, a prominent one. And the NYPD gave ICE Cordelia's arrest record. So this is the NYPD working hand in hand with ICE and Donald Trump. So this is Zohran Mamdani conceding power, fam. So the Zionists have been pushing. They're going to push because the left did it. The left was so busy celebrity worshiping. Even people I like, they didn't spend no time criticizing Zohran. It was all celebrity worship. Oh, we found our net zero. So as the left straight up abandoned their obligation to push Zohran, you had the Zionists pushing. You had the capitalists pushing. Taking more from Zohran. Now they got the person as NYPD commissioner. And you guys think that this diehard Zionist won't be undermining, and let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that Zohran Mamdani is a good faith person. You don't think this person wouldn't be undermining him every step of the way, testing him, putting him in political hot positions, and essentially, she will rob Zohran Mamdani of all of his political power because Zohran Mamdani's strategy is to go along to get along. But before I continue, I'm going to end the RBS stream. We got We got a fat RBN stream. We stream on a lot of different platforms today. Make sure you guys follow my new personal YouTube channel where we continue this conversation. I'm gonna end the RBN stream. So if you're on the RBN stream, make sure you switch over. I think we're on DDG as well. I'm not sure, but I know we're streaming everywhere. So make sure you check out the other options if you're on the RBN channel. But sir, do you have anything else you want to add before I continue? We almost. I just want to do a full breakdown.
There is some breaking news that someone just sent me. Breaking news: Trump is considering an executive order that bans states from restricting AI, threatening to halt federal funding in any state that attempts to impose regulations, while additionally creating AI litigation task force overseen by Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Oh, we're cooked. And you gotta know this is a desperate ploy by the United States ruling class to try to catch up to China. And remember all the capitalists who say that China couldn't innovate? That's what the Gordon Chang, Fox Business coach. China can't innovate. Now they have to do a cheap capitalist interpretation of central planning because they realize that they're chaotic, anarchy, capitalist style where your central planning model is just based on profits and you hope your society works itself out from there. They see China come out with these amazing 5-year plans. They're not shying from government dictating markets. So they have a plan to use AI to uplift the working class and create a global advantage. And having a central planning model like this is such an advantage over the chaotic, ridiculous capitalist structure. And capitalists in the West realize this. So they realize that, like, man, we got to have some way that we can centrally plan our market to boost our AI industry to compete with China. So you guys understand that's what it is. I hope I did a decent job explaining that. But they are doing these policies. You see Trump engaging in a capitalist, because it's not communism, it's not socialism. This is a capitalist central planning model. In order to boost an industry, they desperately want to keep up with a rival that actually implements a state socialist system that enables innovation, which enables industries like AI to grow. But that's just my reaction to your live news. Thank you, Sarah, for breaking for. We still got a lot to cover, man. I know I'm going pretty long on this because I wanted to dive more into the Russia UN. Well, we didn't get to that here very soon. I wanted to go to Epstein files as well. Because Pam Bondi has a hilarious video, which again we might get to that too. Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of cover today still. So this is the. I want to watch this, and we can get to Russia, Sarah. You have Mehdi Hassan.
You said
I thought this was shocking. Mehdi Hassan is the guy who supports Palestine, but also support the head choppers in Syria, who support Israel. So his politics all over the place, Sarah. So he asked Zohran Mamdani about leftist disillusionment in him already. And I found it interesting because, like, who is Mehdi Hassan listening to? Because Mehdi Hassan's circle, like his usual circle, I'm not seeing them being the ones criticizing Zohran. So is he listening to RBN criticism? Who criticism is he listening to? I thought it was interesting. Let's play.
You said that as mayor, you'd be keeping on NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Many of your critics on the left say that keeping Tisch would be a continuation of the status quo here in New York City. She's against bail reform. She's spoken out against pro-Palestine protesters. She's even worked in the intelligence division that constructed a surveillance system for Muslims in New York. What do you say to your supporters who are a little bit disillusioned on this one appointment and say, come on, Zohran, why would you keep her on?
So I said
So if Mehdi Hassan this is why you put pressure. I've been watching them. No one in shit-lived media is covering this stuff. I'm the only one putting out these hostile videos against Zohran Mamdani. Everyone else is just going on to get along. Everyone else is just celebrating this as I've been critical. So who are you listening to? I just thought that was interesting that he brought this up to him.
The primary that I would consider keeping on Commissioner Tisch, and then I said in the general that this is a decision I was making to retain her. And much of that had to do with the fact that when Eric Adams had appointed Commissioner Tisch, he had truly stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with corruption and a complete lack of accountability.
But not her, though. Not
Right.
her, though.
She was the good one.
One of the good ones.
And what she has been able to do in the time that she's been commissioner has been to start to root that corruption out, start to deliver accountability and reduce crime across the 5 boroughs. And that this is an appointment that I would make in tandem with delivering on the agenda that we put forward over the course of the primary. That's an agenda that will create a Department of Community Safety.
Yep.
That is an agenda that will ensure that we are dismantling the strategic response group as the way the NYPD responds to protests. And it's an agenda that understands that safety and justice have to be delivered together. This is a decision that fulfills and then develops that.
Are you planning on expanding the size of the New York Police Department?
No, I've said that the number of police officers that the
There's not going to be any, like, and Bree bring this up. There's no follow-up question to that nonsense. I read Bree's tweet because we read it a long time. But you got these
Why?
journalists
Maybe it's
not-
because he's a foreigner, but does he not understand that Americans, especially young Americans, do not want Zionist overlords? They do not feel comfortable anymore. I don't feel safe around Zionists after the last year I've had. I'm sorry, but I don't. They've attacked my child. They've attacked my parents. They've called my father at home. I'm sorry, but I don't want them lording over me. It's really getting out of control. And if Mamdani doesn't understand that, then I mean, we've given him 45 minutes. It's a lost cause. You know what? F New York City. Let them all have it. Kill each other. Do whatever you want. I don't even care anymore. People don't understand that we cannot have this Zionist power over us, and I don't know how to help them. I don't know how to help them. The people that voted for him need to keep him accountable and hold his feet to the fire, and the rest of us need to move on. It's a lost cause. A lost cause.
I can't believe people not embarrassed they fell for this nonsense again. We can move on to the Russian and the UN, but I want to get your thoughts on that before you had to get out of here. But this is a great point by Bree, and this just shows how much of a joke Mehdi Hassan is as a journalist. I am begging journalists to add just any follow-up question to this guy. If you said Tish has done some good work, why will you keep her on after all the substantial bad?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you think there isn't a single qualified person on earth who can match her achievements without being pro-ICE and without being a Zionist? No, because this is him conceding to the ruling class. And it's our friend Nardine.
It really says a lot when Brianna Joy is calling you out.
Yeah.
And she's like clocking you. It really does, because she's kind of soft too. So it really says a lot, Mamdani. Like, I'm sick of this stuff. These like fake revolutionaries, these sort of, I'm not a communist. I'm not even a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist. You're liberal. You're liberal.
Very well said, Sarah. This will be the last two I'll read on this. This is our friend Nardine. Zohran Mamdani's campaign is one of the most effective cases of counterinsurgency in recent memory. Once again, I'm blown away how successful this has been. I've seen people who was like, I will never support the Democratic Party ever again. I've seen people fall for it again. People calling so post-duopoly supporting this nonsense. It's crazy. But anyway, the most successful counterinsurgency in recent memory. In a matter of months, the same people who lauded student encampments as the peak of Palestine solidarity are now celebrating a mayor who rewarded the police commissioner who cracked the skulls of these protesters. We need to study and identify the way counterinsurgency work in liberal politics. The state doesn't just crush these movements, it absorbs them, rebrands them, and calls it progress. And you guys realize how crazy I've been going over the last few weeks, watching people just happily accept this process happening and falling for this again. And people, oh my God, Nick, why are you going hard on him? Why you guys want to fall? It's nonsense. It's nonsense. But I want to get to our main story. I know I went probably a little bit long on that, but I had to break down all the like obvious red flags. There were people still defending him, even though he already won the election. What does that say? What does that say? But we mentioned this earlier. I want to get to this. I want to get your thoughts on this because there's been a lot of thoughts because you had the UN Security Council, which approved the Gaza enslavement plan, and China and Russia abstained. And there was a lot of people who were frustrated with them and frustrated with Russia and China about that. Sarah, I want to get your thoughts. I had a tweet watched in today. I need to check in on it. But I had a tweet watched Look, I was tired of
do it
watching.
again. I did it once today. You're not gonna like it. Stop all your blood clot crying. Learn what realpolitik is. Understand why this was done the way that it was. Go and actually listen to the statements of Russia and China. I played both of them on my show today. Russia ended their statement by saying, "Don't say we didn't warn you." And what did they say leading up to that? Not only did we submit our own plan because we wanted more clarification and the language in the plan was terrible, et cetera, but he said the PA and all of the Arab states back this. What do you want us to do?
Bro, I've seen leftists more upset at China and Russia than they are the Arab states.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fam, and I've explained this 1,000 times before. I have a hard time as someone who lived in the imperial core, the most violent empire of all time.
You guys have got to stop. I thought someone was going to come save us. Nobody is coming to save you. You are an American. Who is coming to save you?
Exactly.
They hate us. You have got to save yourselves. I don't understand this. Praying for China to go interfere in the Arab world when they're rebuilding the relationship. Same thing with Russia. You want them to literally decimate whatever good relations they have with the Arab states and then leave the whole thing to them? What did Russia say? They say, we will not be a part of this and we're washing our hands of it. I don't know what everybody wants.
They don't understand geopolitics.
With Israel, they buy clothes and microwaves. Please stop. You guys have got to grow up. You guys got to grow up, like literally, like become adults and understand like why these things happen the way that they are. And then go look at who's actually selling them weapons. Yeah, exactly. MVM Grand, fantastic. You're projecting your feelings of helplessness, complicity, and responsibility onto China and Russia. You are. I'm mad because a colleague cursed at me and called me fucking stupid.
Yeah, bro, people are heated over this. Because I had a tweet where I simply said, like, fam, Zionism is a Western problem. It is our problem. You had China.
Everything is wrong. Russia's base in Syria was not preserved by participating in Israel. Syria asked the Russians to come back to Syria. Boom. Move along.
Oh, yeah, you guys don't want to mess with Sarah on this, guys. I'll tell you, bro. She in the trenches. You don't want to spar with Sarah on this. Like, if you understand geopolitics, you're rolling your eyes at all these Western leftists who are like, why didn't Russia and China tank this? Do you guys think Israel and the United States was a stop? Oh, you guys vetoed the security resolution. I guess we stop our genocidal war in Gaza. Is that what you think is going to happen? So let's say Russia and China vote no on this. Then it's upon them to draw up a Gaza peace plan that will then be vetoed by the West. Then what will the international community say? They will say that China and Russia overrode the will of Middle Eastern countries and Arab countries and the Palestinians and Palestinian organizations who supported the ceasefire. It was a political trap set by the West and endorsed by Arab countries to trap and get Russia and China to be the bad guys who support the continuing genocide of Gaza. Because you want to know what the Trump administration said? You want to know what Benjamin Netanyahu said? They said if this resolution did fail, they would just continue the war in Gaza. So if they continue the war in Gaza, then politically, on the international stage, they look at Russia and China and say, see, we told you they didn't care about the Palestinians. We told you that they want genocidal war to come on. And you have people in the United States, and you have people on the left, you have people that's smart, people that they're falling for this and trying to get China and Russia to be their savior because they failed to hold Zionism accountable in the United States. They failed to stop their society from committing genocide. So now they are looking for some savior in the East.
And I'm sorry.
People,
I'm really tired of seeing the people say, oh, multipolarity is a sham. No, this is literally what multipolarity is. Multipolarity is respecting the sovereignty of not even just another state, a whole nother region. That is not a region that China even butts up against. Russia really doesn't share a border with the Middle East either. So multipolarity, and again, I did it on my show. I'm going to plug it again. Konstantin van Hofmeister. Yeah. This book is fire. Go read it. Multipolarity is about sovereignty. If the Arab states, especially Saudi Arabia, who is, for all intents and purposes, the Sunni pole in the multipolar world, and they say, we back the plan. You want Russia to come in and say, we're vetoing the plan that the pole of the region has said, not even just the poll, the government that's recognized by the world, because Russia can't negotiate with Hamas. Are you guys crazy? Like, what fantasy land are you living in? Of course they have to respect the wishes of the PA. Like, what do you guys think? Do you live in like Marvel Comics or something? It's nuts.
The Chinese had to fight, and they dismantled Imperial Japan. They got rid of the colonizers who implanted opium into their population. They fought and won the revolution. I was talking to some people on Red Note a while ago, where they explained, like, man, if you're American, if you want what we have in China, you guys got to fight for it. And you see the liberalism, these people who try to take the responsibility from themselves. It's upon us to get rid of Zionism. They're looking for a substitute. They holding that Putin and Xi Jinping get rid of Zionism. When China, they don't have an APAC in China.
No, they don't have an APAC in China. In fact, and the Turkish and British lobbies are much bigger than the Jewish lobby in Russia too. So, like, I don't understand this. And nobody's making excuses for China and Russia. They abstained. They gave their statements. This is the world that we live in. Like, what China came out of a century of humiliation. Why? Because they band together and united. The ethnicities united. The nation of China united together. So until the Arabs unite, a la the Great Revolution in China, and they have their own Mao that works for them, I don't know what to tell you. You cannot expect Russia and China to butt in when China has them knocking on their back door in the South China Sea, and Russia is literally elbow deep in NATO right now. I don't understand you guys.
And I don't want to call people out, because I could show you guys a tweet, but I decided I don't want to call people out. I don't want to do that, but I can just, you guys know who you are. And I have friends I politely disagree with. Like, do you understand geopolitics? Like, China can't get tied up in a war in the Middle East, fighting Western problems when they have the West barking up on Taiwan. You have Japan just said we're going to start a war with China over Taiwan. You have Ukraine and the West waging a genocidal war with Russia. You want them to get militarily involved in Gaza, because that's what you guys are seeing me advocating for. Because let's say they vote no, they rejected a resolution. The United States back in Gaza. Then what? When the United States and Israel rejected, we're like, all right, you guys want to vote against the resolution? We're going to still continue our war. Then what are you guys advocating Russia and China to do at that point? And who do they have to work with? Sarah, I'll pass right to you. But who do they have to work with? There is no revolutionary left in the Arab world. There is no revolutionary.
Who are they going to work with? Iran?
So who are they going to work with in the Middle East? What people in the West who are imperialist minded, what they're advocating for is Russia and China to overwrite the sovereignty of Palestinians and the Arab leaders, who I think are wrong in accepting this deal. But remember, China, their entire thing is that we respect the sovereignty of states. So we're going to abstain and explain why it's nonsense. But we don't want to ruin our clout in the Arab world, because that would be bad for China. But Western leftists, they don't give a fuck. They don't care about any of this. They want China to commit suicide and make sacrifices that them themselves are not willing to make. What sacrifices are you making? You expect China and Russia to make unique sacrifices that people in the West are not even making to stop the genocidal state? But sorry, is there anything else you want to add on this?
No, I mean, I'm glad that we're like crashing out about it a little bit, and the viewers are not happy. They're like, you guys, this is your feelings. You want Russia and China to act so you can feel better about you not doing anything. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The Russians didn't as much as the Chinese. They already went through their struggle. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't get it. I don't get like this weird, like, feckless. I don't do fuck all, but sit on my ass and go on Twitter. And I can speak for myself too. I really don't do fuck all either. But now I'm mad at Russia and China that they didn't come save us from ourselves. It's us that's doing this. Yeah,
the hierarchy of responsibility, Russia and China is so low on that ladder. Like because they put ceasefire resolutions on the international stage. I don't put that much stake on the UN. The UN is barely a real institution. It's completely fake. It's nonsense. But even on that stage, China and Russia has been standing with Palestine, advocating for a two-state solution, advocating for the end of genocide.
Yeah, I would have said veto this. Russia and China would have vetoed it. Period.
And let's say you disagree with their strategy, because if you disagree with me on this, that's fine, because I don't think is that big of a deal, which is why it's absurd. Because if you disagree with their strategic reasoning, which they outlined, China outlined why they voted to abstain. If you disagree with that, that's a strategic disagreement. Does that mean that China is on the level of evil of the West in the Arab countries who sold out Palestinians? I've seen people, and I shit you not, it's under my thread, where people are like, we should be just as mad at Russia and China than we are on the West. Are you serious? Just as mad as Russia at Russia and China than the states that are actually responsible for genocide, than the ones who in the Arab countries who sold out the Palestinians. There are Arab countries who pressured Hamas to disarm, which led to Israel to continue their genocidal war. So they were sold out to by Arab countries on a level that will be studied for generations. The Zohran Mamdani left, you will never see them later, those criticisms on the Arab countries, the Western countries that enable this. They were, oh, we just got to criticize China because don't you know China sells some stuff to them? To me, I hate the.
I love the people that are like, she doesn't know anything about Russia. My co-host literally just had lunch with Maria Zakharova, but we don't know anything about Russia.
Yeah, I don't know what comments you're reading. I don't know what comments you're reading.
Come for me, please. I was just in Russia.
Russia funded every liberation movement across the globe. Those who live in these places from Cuba to Vietnam know who helped Russia survive. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Well, I think I made my general point on this.
I think I made your audience a little bit mad, but I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
The truth hurts. It sucks, dude. It sucks. It sucks.
I need to read the chat.
It sucks. I wish that they could have stood up and said, "We're vetoing this." Like, this is
a Marvel movie.
The world that we live in right now.
Yeah, if you understand the systems of imperialism, you understand that the global majority is fighting a death struggle against the West that wants them dead. The West wants Russia and Putin dead. They want China dead. They want every country.
I'm an ethno-Nazi. You don't even know my ethnicity. It's just so weird. I
don't know what platform you're. I know people on RBN, they love you. Sir. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching the wrong chat here.
I like when people hate watch me though. I like
really?
when I get to. I do like when I get to interact with the trolls in the chat.
Yeah, it's fun.
Did you, by the way, while I'm here, did you guys or anybody in your audience see the Jewish Civil War? Like, we've got our MAGA Civil War, right? They're arguing. We have a Jewish Civil War happening right now on Twitter. The brown Jews and the white Jews are fighting each other. It's fantastic. We got to back up the brown Jews here. It's really incredible.
Dude, they're gonna eat their own.
Exactly.
I covered how Israelis, like, they rape so much they can't even stop from raping each other. So you think they're not going to discriminate against each other? That's a tale as old as time. I think I saw this too. Let me see. I think I found it. Like, you guys see? I want to get your thought since you brought it up. Like, is this what you mentioned?
Yes.
Look at this. So Sarah.
It's Mizrahis versus Ashkenazis. It's incredible. I mean, the Mizrahis have the upper hand here, period. First of all, they should by default just win the whole war. But yeah, it's really crazy.
This is hilarious. And you guys know that Israelis are so batshit crazy that X disabled translation between Hebrew and English because people keep seeing all the genocidal shit that Israelis were saying. So they had to disable the translation because they were tired of people exposing them. So seeing this tension in the Jewish community about brown and white Jews is hilarious. Like, I am a Jewish man.
What's really incredible though is that, and the reason why I find this fascinating, and I know I'm supposed to have a hard stop at 5, but I don't really care. But this kind of ties into that scene that's happening in Dearborn right now. The guy that's inciting that issue up there is Jewish. He's inciting a Muslim Christian thing. He's literally Jewish. He was up there carrying a cross saying like Christ is king or something like that. So we have a Jewish January 6er. He's up in Dearborn, Michigan, trying to cause a riot. What's beautiful that's actually happened is that there were other white people, white Christians that went up there to sort of incite and agitate. and they wound up having a change of heart on the scene because they were hanging out with all the Muslims, and they were like, "It's great up here." So that's wonderful. But then this, as fun, it's interesting because now we're seeing a brown on white divide in the Jewish community after they tried to do one in the American community. It's very interesting. But yes, guys, watch out for those Dearborn things that are going on. I'm sure they'll go to other cities. Most likely they'll go places in Texas where the Sunni Muslims live. They're Shia mostly in Dearborn. And they're just going to be agitators and be generally disgusting. Like just absolute trash. They were throwing bacon at people. Like it's just so gross. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed that these people think that like they're on my side or something. I don't know. It's just really gross. The whole thing is just disgusting.
Big shout out to my friend Chai. I think Chai is the one who sent me this. That's why I knew exactly what you were talking about this. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. She sent me this because I knew exactly what you're talking about. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because this is the story. And just so I'm gonna read it for people who not in the know, like we are, Sarah. This is the tweet. I am a Jewish man who loves Israel and believes in the Hashem, what the fuck that is. And some of you are abandoning me when I ask for your help to stand with me and speak about racism for Middle Eastern dark Jewish men like me. I have given so much to my people, very sad. And in response to this guy was destroyed by our friend Rathbone. I'm gonna have Rathbone back on. We had him on a few weeks ago. Rathbone debated this sellout, this fake MAGA fuck, and destroyed him. Like he went on Tim Pool show, and our friend Rathbone debated Misfit Patriot, and everyone in Tim Pool audience, look at the video, was all like, "Oh my god, Rathbone destroyed him!" Like it was unanimous in the comments. So this guy, in response to this brown Jew saying, "Oh, I can't believe there's so much racism in the apartheid state of Israel," he said, "I'm out, bro. This ain't it." So I think
the white Jews are saying he's a grifter. Some have said he's not really Jewish. So it's a very interesting saga happening.
He's like a Jew, huh?
Yeah, you can watch from the sidelines. You don't even have to get involved. It's like the "let them fight" meme. I'm just enjoying the show.
Sarah, can I get your final thoughts on this story before you get out of here?
I'm scared of these people. I saw on my show, I was like, I'm putting the Epstein thing on the back burner. I got to give it a rest for like a week because they're really freaking me out. Now she's like, well, I'll follow the law. Well, what the fuck were you doing leading up to this? Not following the law? She said, I'll follow the law very closely. What were you doing prior?
Dude, this is incredible because after doing everything they can to deny the vote for the Epstein files, now Donald Trump found their loophole where Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, they put in the resolution where they don't have to release the files, they can redact the files if there's an active investigation or if it harmed national security. So Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie allowed them an out because anything that will connect Mossad to Jeffrey Epstein that is classified, they can easily redact now because of that. But that's a story for another day. I don't want to keep too much of your time here.
Yeah,
but because they know that,
I don't know how this goes. Obviously, Chris has his own Epstein book, so we're involved in this. Thankfully, not me, just Chris. Chris is in touch with Ro Khanna and them. Dude, I don't know what's going on. This stuff is really starting to freak me out. I don't like it. I don't like how big this net is. I don't like this network. Every time we reveal a name, it's like, oh, they were in the Epstein files, like Hakeem Jeffries. It's like every time, like I was on Rachel Blevins the other day, we were talking about it. And like one email, he emails the president of Harvard and tells him if he has time, could he take one of the Rothschilds around for a tour? And it's just like, this is so insane that these are the people that really are our true overlords, and they're all connected through this really sick individual. It's scary. The whole thing is terrifying to me.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. Sarah, I can get you out of here. Any last thoughts? I know you probably had a hard out.
No, I think I'm spent for the day.
Yeah, you had to stream earlier, so I don't want to take. I do want to show these videos, but I don't want to keep you too long. So I appreciate you spending an hour with me. We're gonna have you back.
They can't make any changes because the vote was overwhelming. You think you're going to be able to amend a vote that was 471 to 1?
Yeah, I'm gonna show this video because this is a video of Mike Johnson having an absolute meltdown. Pam Bondi, they all melting down over the Epstein files being exposed. I'm gonna cover this. But Sarah, any final thoughts? Thank you for joining me again tonight.
Oh, thank
Always
you
good to hear
guys.
your
I'm
take.
sorry I was mean. If you want to debate me about it, I'm willing to do that. Find me on Twitter, maybe. I don't know. But I think I'm willing to debate why you're wrong and I'm right. That's okay. Just don't call me names. I love you guys, and I'll see you on Sunday. Talk
Yeah, thank
soon.
you, Sarah. I tell you guys don't want that heat. You don't want that heat with Sarah. I promise you. I don't know what chat you were watching because we are live on multiple places. We live on her channel, DDG, my Twitter, Twitch, live on Kick, YouTube. So I'm like, who's she talking to? I'm like, my chat is cool with this. I already know that some people are gonna disagree with me. I have friends who I respect, and I understand. Like if you're, I said in my rant about the Russia China vote. I might well show it to you guys. I got a little more. I can spend a little more time with you guys. I wonder if I can find it real quick. Because this was my tweet in response. Because I saw so many. I was big shout out to my friend Chai. She's the one who showed me that receipt earlier. I saw a lot of people I know for a fucking fact voted for Kamala Harris. To explain what I mean here, I've seen people who voted for Kamala Harris tweeting shit like, see, China is imperialist. China sold out Palestinians. I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you? A Kamala voter. And I use the term American leftist for a reason because if you're a Palestinian and you're cursing the world right now, I have no right to tell you how to feel. If you're a Palestinian, if you're cursing China, if you're cursing Iran, if you're cursing Russia, I get it, man. The world has done you wrong. I get it. I am not talking to Palestinians here. I used American leftists here for a very particular reason. I'm not talking to the Palestinians. I'm not talking to the Arab working class who was sold out by their leaders. I'm not even talking to them. I said American leftists for a reason in my tweet. Because to me, I think it's pathetic. Because I feel guilty. There's a reason why I ruined my career opportunities. There's a reason why I go so hard. Because I'm frustrated that we didn't stop this. I feel a personal responsibility. And I see American leftists try to shift blame on China and Russia. You gotta see why I personally find that weak. And that mindset of looking for a savior instead of putting and taking actions in your own hand is why the United States left is weak and failed over and over again. It's an imperialist mind that you have. You in the empire, you who taxpayer money is going to fund a genocide. Many of you can't even hold a BDS protest. You guys got Disney subscriptions. Feel like, Nick, you see the last Marvel movie? No. I don't watch Disney. You motherfuckers got Disney subscriptions, ESPN subscriptions, breaking. I know for a damn fact you leftists do. I see them talking about Marvel all the time on Twitter. Like, you guys boycott the state of Israel in a genocidal apartheid state. In the most violent empire, and you have the nerve to critique China and critique Russia. Okay, fam. Okay. If you want to do that, you better have a perfect BDS record. You better show evidence of the sacrifice you made to fight the Israeli state, because they want China to completely destroy their state and sacrifice their people when even Arab countries won't make a sacrifice. Can't even give up your ESPN subscription. Can't even give up your Disney subscription. Talk about what China and Russia should be doing. That's essentially what I've been saying here. And I don't want to call anyone out by name because I think this is mostly, even though I'm going hard, I'm passionate, this is a respectful disagreement. I'm just a naturally passionate person. So if you're one of the people who disagree with me, it's all good. Don't let my passionate voice trick you. I'm actually cool with people who disagree with me on this. Just be fair. Because I was talking to people, I was cool. Look, people disagree with me. That's okay. That's okay. I don't expect people to agree with me with everything. I'm not sure. I like this guy. I'm not sure they agree with me or disagree with me on this. Russia and China are going the same way. It seems like they're agreeing with me. It's okay. You don't have to agree with me all the times. I just on a personal note, I just find it uncouth when we failed to take out the empire. That's the point I was making. All right, let's cover the. I guess I can do a quick segment on this. I'll also have some super chats. Hebrew. Let me read some super chat. This Mamdani shit is wild. I can quickly cover this to wrap the stream up. Hebrew is now the black language of mortar on Twitter, which I will not utter here. Gang gang. Thank you for the super chat. Soviet tried intervening in Afghanistan. It failed. Thank you for that super chat, Shinobi. Osama Haman told Dropsite that Hamas asked for the resolution to be blocked. Yeah. If you disagree with China's and Russia's vote, that's okay. You can disagree with them politically. But to me, what they did made 100% sense rationally. Knowing that a veto wouldn't stop Israel's genocidal war, that it will only shift the narrative against Russia and China. Like, it won't even accomplish anything. Like, it's actually better politically on a global stage for them to abstain and them to write them scathing critiques, because those critiques can go out in the world to even countries that voted differently than Russia and China. And those arguments can be heard without the loud noise of the neocon propaganda that will be repeated nonstop, that China and Russia voted to continue the genocide in Gaza. You guys understand the United States propaganda machine is way stronger and way more influential than what China and Russia have. United States and Western propaganda completely destroys Chinese and Russian propaganda on the global stage. So it was not the right strategic move, and it wouldn't even helped the Palestinians in Gaza. Like, do you guys really believe the United States? What evidence do you guys have that UN resolutions will stop the United States in Israeli genocidal war? It wouldn't. So the best thing they can do is maneuver geopolitically and show who's the real bad guy, and not even give an opening to the United States and Israel to spin against Russia and China, which they can't wait to do. There are Ukrainian Zionists who can't wait to tie Russia to the genocide in Gaza. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm down to have respectful disagreements with people on this. Cause I'm not trying to be. I don't want to intimidate anyone on disagreeing with me. Because I told people, like, it's okay, man, if you don't agree with my analysis. I just find the Western left reaction to this is wow to me. And I think it shows that a lot of people don't really understand the current reality of geopolitics. I'm gonna actually read some chats. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Because Sarah said she saw some people disagree. I was like, I couldn't see it though. Maybe it was on her channel. Man, there's too many chats. Like, can we live? Look, we got Rumble chats. Look, I think that's from Rumble. Look, this is a Twitch chat. Look, that's a big ass Twitch chat. Sorry, I wish I can follow the chat a little bit more. Yeah, long as disagreements are personal. Yeah, I'm cool. Like, with my friend, I agree with me on everything. I find it like, I think people on like left Twitter freak out at any disagreement. Unfollow, block. It's okay, man. We're here to have dialogue with each other, so it's okay. I'm just looking at some chat. I need to start reading chats more. I used to read chats all the time, but a little bit too fast for me now. The UN, ICC, ICJ are two places. Yeah. Like, you have to feel like these international institutions are barely real as it is. So for people to cancel a state that has done so much good, supporting revolutions and peace movements, lifting the world out of poverty like China, for them to cancel this, to cancel and condemn them on the same level as the genocidal West, that's crazy to me. Like, it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a dead horse at this point. Because the international institutions are barely real as it stands. Was there? Yeah, big shout out to Super or Seamster Soul and Show. Appreciate the chat there. I don't disagree, but I am disappointed. That's okay. I get it. Like if you're disappointed, I understand. I think that's a valid emotion. What I was confused with was people I've seen the social democrat. I've seen people who organize with Zionists, like see Russia and China, they're genocidal too. Like, bro, the ladder of responsibility here. Russia and China is so low on that ladder compared to Arab countries who sold out the Palestinians and demanded Hamas disarm, who forced Hamas and cornered them and cornered Palestinian groups to take this deal. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. I think this is more of an interesting conversation. I think, man, fuck this Epstein story. I almost want to see. I want to see if I can show you guys some examples here. Here's one. This guy does great work. The director of the Electronic Intifada. So I'll actually fuck the Epstein segment. I want to see if I can show you guys some tweets of people who disagree with me. I think that'll be fun. It is incomprehensible that China and Russia, which harshly and correctly criticize U.S.-backed resolutions to impose barbaric colonial rule in Gaza, allowed it to pass. They should have vetoed it, not abstained. Sadly, I predicted it. It is not a multipolar world yet. Which once again, respect to your position, Russia and China, they're not above criticism. But as Sarah mentioned, and if you read the books about multipolarity is about respecting the sovereignty of countries. That is a big part of multipolarity. And this is what China speaks about. This is what Ali is a little bit misguided here. Because if you see Arab countries supportive of this UN resolution, you don't want to be the ones taking that and seen as the one who is vetoing a resolution that Arab countries support. Because that will be you overriding their sovereignty, which is a betrayal of multipolarity, my brother. So it's cool you guys disagree with me. But I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from and why I think Ali is wrong here. I understand his criticism, but when you say it's a criticism of the multipolar world is about respecting the sovereignty of the countries, even if they disagree on stuff we don't like. And it comes with contradictions that can backfire. Because if China, as an anti-imperialist country, don't want to cause tensions and impose sanctions on countries because they disagree with them, that will inevitably lead them to do business with countries you disagree with. Because they don't want to allow politics to be the guiding principle of whether they do trade or not. That is what the West has done. Impose a form of sanctions. So I think this is a good one. I think it's very interesting. Feel free to agree with him or me. I want to see what. Here's our friend Haas. Haas base as hell. And I think he agreed. He's more on my position. Wonder if this is a video of him talking about it. I know Haas had a great tweet about it though. China and Russia cannot deliver liberation to a foreign people when they themselves lack their own domestic revolutionary leadership. The leftist counter-signaling of Russia and China is based on Trotskyist neocon fantasies. Okay, I'm interested now. Let's see what Haas has to say.
Okay, so the argument that everyone who's smart is making is that Russia and China cannot deliver liberation to the Arabs and Muslims if they don't want it themselves. You know, the logic of regime change is the epitome of Trotskyism and bourgeois derangement. The idea that you can liberate a foreign people when they themselves lack their own domestic revolutionary leadership, when they themselves lack their own domestic revolutionary movement, when they themselves lack their own domestic form of sovereignty, is just preposterous. What does China know about the Arab and Islamic world? How is that China's business? How can China, or Russia for that matter, give them a guidebook about how to fucking run their own affairs? And part of running your own affairs is absolutely taking responsibility for your regime. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Arab and Islamic world, although the masses are against the regime, they can't complain to Russia and China that, well, why aren't you doing anything? Your own governments are to blame. And then they say, well, we're powerless before our own governments. Well, the CPC was pretty powerless during the Long March. The Bolsheviks were pretty powerless for decades. Even with respect to questions of international solidarity, the USSR provided plenty of that. It didn't go anywhere. But even if we discount that fact, what forces exist in the Middle East or the Arab world right now? Even if Russia and China wanted to engage in international solidarity and assisting these revolutionary forces, where are they? Who are they? Where are they and who are they? Okay, so someone mentioned Yemen. Okay, well, they are helping Yemen. China is helping Yemen.
Right.
So show me where these forces are. Where's the leadership?
I think Haas is making a good point here. I haven't seen this video before. That's why I was watching out of curiosity, because you guys know I had Haas on before. I like his tanky ass politics, you know what I mean? This is essentially what I was saying. I don't know what people expect Russia and China to do when even the Arab countries are bowing to Israel's plan to get greater Israel. You have people in the pro-Palestinian movement who supported the Free Syrian head choppers. And now you have Jelani that's begging for normalization with Israel. You have Benjamin Netanyahu annexing land from Syria. And you have people like Mehdi Hasan. You have all these people who supported that. You have people in the Arab world who cheered the downfall of Syria, knowing that Syria was supporting the revolution. So if you guys that far behind, if you guys are allowing greater Israel to take place to this degree, how is a UN resolution supposed to solve these problems for you? Even if China hypothetically stopped selling toasters and ovens to Israel, how is that going to stop the Muslim Zionists in the Arab world from selling out their people? I think Haas makes some good points here. This is a longer video. I think 2 minutes is good. I want to see some other tweets. Look, you got to see the discourse is hot right now. I've been too busy playing the show. I'll be putting them on my tweets, and I'll just be dipping sometimes. I don't have the time because I got these shows take some time to do. But this is what I mean. Like you see the discourse on this shit is hot. You know, I'm always going to take y'all in discourse. I already knew that this may be controversial, but I'm all about the discourse. I'm all about the heat. No, the first person says people want China and Russia to risk everything so they can do nothing. Pathetic. Your idealism doesn't even matter to them, and it shouldn't. I'm not sure who this person is. So no one is asking China to launch human wave attacks on Tel Aviv. You disingenuous person, bro. These people be heated, bro. Like, bro, chill. All we're asking is for the second biggest economy in the world to stop trading with a genocidal ethno-state and to press the big red veto button at the UNSC. I already explained how that veto wouldn't really accomplish anything. I think critiquing China from selling with Israel is a valid criticism, but that doesn't stop the Israeli project. Like, the West and Zionism in the West is the largest driver of the genocidal war in Israel, the genocidal ethno-state in Israel. So it's upon you to hold them accountable, and many people in the West won't even do it. But I'm not going to be mad at anyone who demands that would want China or anyone to end business with Israel. I don't think that's unreasonable. I'm mostly focused on the veto. That's mostly what I'm focused on. China doesn't owe shit to anyone but the Chinese people. Like, you got to see, bro, the Chinese communists, my friends, bro, there's a battle. There's a discourse battle right now. I find it very interesting. This is the nerd in me. I do find this debate pretty interesting, to be honest. And I see I think both sides make good points. Like, I see the point that the other side is making. But I'm more of a believer in personal responsibility. I understand the geopolitical strategic moves that Russia and China is making. Like what you guys are advocating Russia and China to do wouldn't even accomplish anything, but shift the blame geopolitically on Russia and China. I'll explain that. I don't want to beat a dead horse again. Strategically, I understand what Russia and China is doing, but I get it. Like, I think both sides are making pretty good arguments here. I'm more on the side that Russia and China has done plenty to help the resistance and resistance fighters. They have a lot on their table with Russia fighting the entirety of NATO. You have Russia trying to support Venezuela against the West now. You have the West barking on Taiwan. They are already fighting against the genocidal West. Can they really afford to open this front? So I understand the geopolitical strategic moves that Russia and China is making. I think a lot of people are stuck in activist brains where statesmen are not going to behave like activists will. They're going to do what's best for their people while maintaining their own principles. And their principles is that of multipolarity, where you respect the sovereignty of not only states, but entire regions where the Arab countries in the Arab world and the UN international community was calling for this. So they can abstain and lay out their disagreements, but they don't want to overstep and overwrite the sovereignty of the Palestinian Authority and many of the Arab countries that support. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. To me, it makes sense. I don't know where this guy. What is this? Oh, I think I was just scrolling the timeline. China builds railroad to distract from the fact that it's turning back on Palestine. You see, it's not dramatic. I think that's extremely dramatic. Especially considering China and Russia laid into the vote and their abstain, and even vetoing it wouldn't have done anything. So that was the original reply. He said China doesn't owe anyone. So these people are just demanding, like, this is what I find annoying, where they're demanding that Russia and China do our job for them. Like, it's our job to stop this. Anyway, I think I can begin to wrap up. I think this is an interesting debate to me. And our friend Fiorella, I like Fiorella. She's going to be on Friday. I might talk about this. Multipolarity is a sham in terms of equity when Russia and China abstain on the UN Security Council resolution on Gaza, failing to use their veto power. Both have relationships with Israel. Trump and Zionists are now effectively in charge of Gaza. The UN is useless and shameful. I definitely agree with you on the last point. And once again, Fiorella makes some good points here. I don't think this is necessarily a rebuke of multipolarity, but I would like to talk to Fiorella more about that and have her expand. Doesn't it show that RT, like Fiorella worked for RT, but you see how she's still willing to criticize Russia? I guess it was never about that. I think Fiorella makes some good points here. She makes some good points. I like Fiorella. But we can wrap up here. Any other super chats I missed? I think I got them all. I'm just rambling at this point. 90 minutes in, I think I can wrap it up here. I kind of want to see what you guys think. So does the UN have power? No, you can't say you have no power and also say a veto would have mattered. They should have vetoed it, in my opinion. Fair. But we've seen how, like, for example, you had Ben Gvir, an Israeli politician, and Benjamin Netanyahu openly said if the UN resolution doesn't pass, that means our war in Gaza will continue. So in that sense, the UN resolution ultimately doesn't matter because it doesn't stop the genocidal war in Gaza, unless people are implying they want Russia and China to get involved. But once again, if you think they should have vetoed, I think that's a respectable. I don't think that's a big disagreement. I understand. I think geopolitically speaking and strategically speaking, abstaining makes 100% sense, though. I'm trying to read some more chats. The USA said the UN resolutions are non-binding. Yeah, it will continue. You guys hope. Am I making sense? Like, if it will continue anyway, and this is the calculus that Russia and China is making. If it's going to continue anyway, whether they reject it or abstain, they might as well abstain so they don't get the geopolitical blame. So the West and this is what they wanted to set them up to say, oh, see, Russia and China is responsible for the genocide in Gaza. They refused to vote for the peace plan. So it's the same outcome without that propaganda win. When Russia is already fighting a ton of propaganda fronts on Ukraine, China fighting a lot of propaganda fronts on Taiwan. But once again, I understand if you guys don't agree with my interpretation. I just think it strategically made a lot of sense, and it doesn't really matter at the end. I think people put in way too much stock in what the UN Security Council could even accomplish. I said the UN should be goddamn abolished. I said that weeks ago, months ago. Like, they've been exposed as completely incompetent. All right, but let me wrap up here. I was just looking for some more disagreements. I have feelings they're all fooling us. Yeah, this is a good comment. I was going to see if I can find some more disagreements here. Fuck the UN. I think the other side is making some good points too. I understand what they're saying. I'm not mad at them. All right, let's wrap up here. I was looking for some more disagreeing comments, but appreciate you guys for watching. I'll be back on Friday with Fiorella, which is interesting because Fiorella has a scathing critique of China and Russia. I'd be interested in talking to her about that, which is okay. I think these conversations are very interesting to me. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys support my Patreon if you support my work and my labor. I will be back with Fiorella. I think this is the perfect timing to have her, man. You guys know Zoya in the lab cooking. I'm always in the lab cooking. I'll have a few hotspot videos to come out. Yeah, do you guys know? Because I know Zoya, Leif was on Jamal's Thomas show before I was on. And that's when I first saw him. You guys know I'm down to have anyone on, as long as they're down to join us. You know what I mean? I think there's an interesting conversation. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back on Friday. Have a good rest of your night. Take care.